This is Michael Popok, Legal AF After Dark. Let's move on to Florida and what is happening in Florida with the Mar-a-Lago case and Judge Cannon. She just can't seem to get out of her own way with her decisions about the classified documents down there. And all it's doing is accomplishing what we always thought would happen here on Legal AF on the MeidasTouch network, a delay in the trial that had originally been scheduled against Donald Trump to take place in May now seems to be jeopardized. But Ben, Meiselas, and me, we go at it, we debate what we're observing with our experience collectively with over 45 years of experience on the most recent edition of Legal AF. Take a listen.
Let's move to the Southern District of Florida, though. We hit on it a little bit where Judge Eileen Cannon is just completely butchering her docket. And as I've always said, Popok hasn't said, but I'm just saying it, that her corruption is matched by her incompetence. And she almost confuses herself a lot of times, too, because she's not running an orderly docket. And the way Donald Trump can't keep all of his lies together, she can keep all of her kind of schemes together and all of her orders together. I did a hot take once on the fact that she forgot to even rule on a motion for media interveners until after the hearing because her docket is just totally and utterly a mess. And, she's been doing these paperless orders, which means they're not actually like the way Judge Chutkan does these orders that have cases and citations. You have Judge Cannon just do these like minute entries that just show up on the docket. There's really no citations to laws, where when a deadline approaches, she'll say minuteless, paperless docket entry. And then she'll say like, I'm hereby staying all deadlines until further notice. And then that, like she did one of those on October 6th, then October 19th, she did one. I want to hold a hearing on November 1st to delay. So she like delayed so first off, it took her like 3 months to execute the SEPA protective order, which you can't really do anything in a case involving classified information until she signs the protective order. So she drags that out for 3 months. Then Jack Smith turns over the documents. Then Donald Trump whines and says, oh, no, now we're in September, Judge. And now it's, we can't make these deadlines. So then she keeps moving all of her deadlines, staying herself. She's like, without it even being requested, she's like staying herself, entering these paperless orders. And then she held this hearing on November 1st from this week, where she basically said, I'm inclined to delay the trial, but I need to think about it, because she never actually makes the order. And then she took a day or two, and then she made another minute order, not to actually make the order, but to stay all of the kind of pre-trial motion deadlines that she set. Again, pausing her own deadlines. And so what's going on here, though, Popok, you and I have talked about, she's waiting, and there's a unspoken thing taking place here between her and Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, right? And so Judge Cannon wants to keep that May date so that no other cases can go then, because she's trying to protect him there. But she also knows that her entire docket is screwed up. And if she moves that to 2024, she's worried, because she's trying to help Trump, we both feel, I think, that Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is going to swoop in and go either May or June and ask that to be the trial date. So what Judge Cannon is doing all these like minute entries of delaying the dates, keeping the trial date. Everybody knows the May trial date ain't happening, folks. It's done. Not impossible. 0% chance that this thing goes in May. But now Judge Cannon's keeping that as a date just to protect Donald Trump, which I just think makes it extra nefarious. But it's not obvious, other than to like people who practice in the federal courts and Jack Smith's, like why she's doing that. But that's what's going on with these paperless orders and how it relates to Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. What do you make of what's going on in the Southern District of Florida? You alluded to it before.
Yeah, no, I mean, as a practitioner there regularly, yeah, it's you suspected. I had a little bit more hope when she set the original date well before November. We still got 7 months until May. It's like there's still a lot of time, 6 months. There's a lot of time left on the clock here to resolve these issues and still have a trial on a relatively straightforward case. Did sticky fingered Donald Trump keep or not keep classified top secret national defense information documents? This is not as we said at the top of the show, nothing involving Donald Trump is a head scratcher or some sort of overly
Yep.
complex fraud or scheme. It is the most infantile and baby stuff you can think of. His fraud in New York is, I don't like the number 2, make it a number 9. Okay. His fraud, his espionage or his obstruction in Florida is physically hiding boxes and using staff to do it, and then realizing there was video of it, and then trying to kill the video and all those people around it. That was the I mean, this is not like the great heist, like they didn't never solve the Lufthansa flight heist, the 1960s in New York. Who broke it? How did they get all the money and the jewels? This is not that. Okay, this case is not what's making it ridiculously, overly, artificially complex is Aileen Cannon, the judge. And so, I think your prediction that this originally, even before today, that the trial was never going to happen in Miami, in Fort Pierce, before the November election is really coming to a fruition. Thank God there are other prosecutors and other courts that are more than ready and willing and able to step in. That's why the Chutkan one was always such an anchor for us, because that was March, and then everybody else could sort of rotate and orbit around it, but still have it done before November. Because the good news about democracy and this justice system is there are prosecutors and judges who believe it's important that Donald Trump get his day in court and either be acquitted or convicted before people have to vote for him in November.
And one of the things why I said, even when Judge Cannon was the one appointed there, why I was not overly worried about Cannon. And if you go back to what I was saying at that time too, though, and again, I predicted that she was going to engage in all the mischief. So I held those 2 points together. I said I wouldn't worry that she was appointed, but she is going to engage in all this mischief. And why I felt confident is the kind of overwhelming evidence that exists throughout the other cases as well. And that ultimately what Judge Cannon is doing, because her incompetence matches her corruption, will backfire. One of the frustrating things about the wheels of justice moving slowly is that with each of these moves that Judge Cannon makes to kind of delay, for all of us who want justice, it's infuriating. It absolutely is. And to see a judge like this who just kind of pokes her finger in our constitutional body and just continues to engage in this, it is horrible to watch. But ultimately, you've got Cannon in Florida, but you've got Chutkan, who's the exact opposite. Thoughtful, law and order, detailed, doesn't do these paperless orders like actual order, is prompt, moves the docket along. And folks, there are 2 cases that are now scheduled for March of 2024. We have Donald Trump testifying next week in the New York Attorney General's civil fraud case. We have a March trial. We have in the Washington, D.C. federal case. We've got another March trial in the Manhattan District Attorney case. We've got a January trial in the E. Jean Carroll second defamation case, which liability has already been found. It's how many millions of dollars is the jury going to award E. Jean Carroll in that case? We have a lot. We are just at the beginning of all of these cases of accountability as well, which is why I am very confident that the wheels of justice will turn in the right direction and Donald Trump will be held accountable. I want to let you know again, I'm very confident in that. And I wouldn't just be saying, "Oh, I'm confident." No, we've called all of the moves thus far. I am confident he will be held accountable.
All right. Well, if you like that kind of legal reporting and analysis, you're going to love Legal AF, our long format podcast, only on the MeidasTouch network, exclusively there. It's on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., Saturdays at the exact same time. On Wednesdays, I do it with Karen Friedman-Agnifilo, 30-year prosecutor, former number 2 in the Manhattan DA's office. And on Saturdays, just like that one, I do it with Ben Meiselas. So if you find it interesting, you're going to love what we do when you give us a full hour and we're able to do the top 5 stories at the intersection of law, politics, and justice in one place, the MeidasTouch network. Free subscribe, help them get to 2 million free subscribers. No outside investors. Without you, there is no network. So please help them right now and give them a thumbs up and a free subscribe here. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.